This program has been rated mature by the Gaming Radio Network. It is unsuitable for under 18s due to content of an adult nature, which may be classed as offensive to some people.
And as we do that, we go live, and this is another episode of This Week in New Eden. No Dirk this week, unless he surprisingly drops in on us because, well, he was out last night and he basically said, look, dude, I'm going to take a day. And I'm like, dude, take a day. No problem, you know. That's what it is. So, anyway, this is This Week in New Eden on E-Radio. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you're listening, if you're listening in live or in post. It is Sunday, the 15th of May, 2016, just gone 3 p.m. GMT, and I'm joined this afternoon by two legends of the EVE media community. And I will say this because I have two of them with me. First, a very warm welcome to one of my former co-host slash co-presenters on EVE Radio, Mr. Funky Bacon. How are you doing, sir?
I'd say I'm doing all right this morning.
This morning you are good.
Still rubbing the sleep out of my eyes.
Still rubbing the sleep. Have you had coffee?
I don't do that shit, man.
Yeah, you're like me. You're like, I don't do coffee. I just power through it.
That's it, or a monster drink or something.
Monster or something. Just like, yeah! And also, we are joined by another legend from the podcasting media community, Mr. Far From Puking of the Podside Networks, MPX in-game. Sir, how are you this morning?
Oh, I'm doing good.
You're good, yeah?
Yep.
That's good. If you've never heard This Week in New Eden, basically we go over this week in New Eden. It's a very simple premise to the show. It's very simple. It's easy. We talk about the stuff going on even this week. We're live on Twitch and on YouTube, and the links will be posted in-game in a second. I'll just post them there now. Like there we go. You can watch it live on Twitch or YouTube, or you can obviously listen live at eve-radio.com. Or maybe you can even go to the brand new site, which is completely new. Lovely new. GamingNow.net is the brand new site for. It's basically what we're doing. We're rebranding. We're rebranding all of it, everything. So GamingNow.net is where you really need to go. If you want to thing. If you listen online, you can listen to eve-radio.com. Gaming Now is the new work in progress preview of the new site. It's basically going to encompass all the games that we cover. Star Citizen, EVE Online, Elite Dangerous, and survival games and stuff like that. But yeah, basically, it's all good and gravy. So,
all the things.
all the things, including a stick of butter. So,
butter.
Butter. Butter.
It's breakfast time here. So.
We've just had lunch. We had a turkey Caesar salad for lunch and stuff. So, this week, what's been going on this week in EVE Online? Big news this week. The dev blog of the CSM 11 election results. Now we obviously know the results, but these are the breakdown of the results. Did you guys see it this week? Have you seen any of the? I'm linking the EVE News 24 repost of the article because that's where it was. That's where I saw it 20 minutes ago. Quite interesting, to see the amount of votes themselves cast. We knew about that, but the number of candidates as well, and the votes by country. The one thing that always gets me is not the votes per day, but somebody did break down. I believe it was I saw it on Twitter. I believe it was Tora Bushido, actually, who broke down. I think he did. He broke down the actual total votes overall. I think he ran the numbers. How often was a candidate put on a ballot? I think there's the tweet. Let's find it. Let's get the tweet. Let's copy. It was this one, actually. And it shows that you don't have to be top on the ballot to get elected. Which, Funky, you've been on the CSM, so you've seen it from both sides. You've seen it from a player, but you've also seen it from a council member side, correct?
Yes.
And obviously there is, you have a history with yeah. I'm going to say history. I'm going to be political. I'm going to be politically correct. A history with the CSM and with CCP. I personally still think we do need the CSM as much as a lot of people say, oh, it's bad, it's good, where we do need it. But the numbers that came out this year, you know, the where is it? The devlog. It showed, you know, it was the third lowest vote count. We talked about this when we knew. It was the third lowest vote turnout, you know, ever. You know, the first lowest since CSM 4. So CSM 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, pardon me, and 10 all had higher vote counts. Is it? I'm going to say, is it kind of maybe? I don't want to say the beginning of the end for the CSM, but what would you guys say?
I don't know. For me, there didn't seem to be a whole lot of what would you say? Interesting people on there this time around.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of the variation of candidates, because there was only like 53 or 52, I think, was the total number of 53 candidates. Last year there was 75. And then on CSM 9, 36, 31. So 75 was the highest last year by a long shot, other than CSM 1. The thing is, when you look at the actual candidates themselves, it was very interesting to see, you know, how, you know, there was. Well, let's get this elephant out of the room. It's a massive null block this year, isn't it?
Well, yes. When voter turnout is low, you're going to have a lot more null guys, because those are the ones that you've got very similar ballots. So you're going to have. I'm searching for the word here, but yeah.
Well, when you look at the other lower ones, and I agree with you, Funky. If you look at the other ones, the lowest ones, that was all about nullsec too. You know, and again, when you have low voting turnout, and you're right, Funky, it's because it's nullsec. Those are the people voting.
Yeah, because you think all the high sec guys, the guys that are unaffiliated. I mean, they're voting for this guy or that guy, and it's not like a party vote kind of a thing. You're just going to be voting for who you like, so you're going to have much more diffused votes across like the non-organized blocks. And then you've got guys like Goonswarm who got 3 guys on the thing because they've got a large number of people to vote and kind of take it from there. And really, I mean, if you think about it, like they got more than 3, because Circle of 2 at the time was part of
Imperium.
Yeah.
We don't admit that.
Yeah.
Pandemic Legion's got 4 guys on there. I mean, you know, you just look at it and you're like, wow.
Yeah. And this is the thing, when you the amount of you see what's going on with it, and I mean, I'm totally 110 million% behind the CSM. Always have been, always will be, because it does a very good job, you know, for what it is. And the problem that sometimes happens with it is that some people go, well, they don't do anything for my playstyle. And, well, you know what? You might need to get people for your playstyle on the CSM. Because, you know, we had Mike Azariah for, 3 terms, who did, I will say this, an amazing job on the CSM. He was, without a doubt, always out there, always being communicative, always out there, just it was amazing for what he was doing. And okay, he had to, he had enough. He'd run his 3 terms and he was going to get back on with life. But what's the I think what's the downside? Well, the downside of having all the null block is obviously everyone's going to focus on null. But what about them? And again, this is the elephant in the room. The big part of the player base who all live in HiSec. Because remember that's what everyone always says, don't they? Everyone always says the massive part of the player base live in HiSec.
Yeah, how many of those are alts and stuff, though? I mean, I'm looking at this. I think, is Steve the only person on the CSM that wasn't part of a null block?
Yeah, Steve. Yeah, Steve, and I think. Well, technically, there was. Who was it? Technically, Mr. Hyde is as well. Yeah, really. Jintan's for CVA. Even though it's CVA, it's still null.
Yeah, I don't see any low set guys this year.
No. No lulsec at all.
Is there a single wormholer on there?
Nope.
I'm not familiar with Wormhole Corps, but
No, there's none on there currently. None at all. So
yeah, I don't know. I kind of get the feeling that people are just stopping to care about the CSM, and there's good reason for that too.
Noisy Gamer says technically Noobman, but he's got multiple alts in PL. Yeah, I suppose Noobman technically for Hard Knocks Citizens, but he's a PL alt there, as I said. So, you know, what does that say? Does that say to you that the CSM may potentially be, you know, on the way out?
You got Zeneria on it. You knew that was going to be the end when you got Zeneria on there.
The thing with Zeneria, it was pushed by Goons. I'm going to say this. Goons organised themselves and pushed. And, you know, Mitani's like, we're going to push him on there. And they got him on there, so...
Well, I mean, why not?
Exactly. Why the hell
Might not be the CSM you need, but it's certainly the CSM you deserve. But I mean, I think I've done like entire shows on the futility of that particular organization, and maybe things are changing. They got Lilu out of there, and Falcon's not overseeing it anymore. And you know, now you get Guard, and I forget the other guy, but he's good too. And so, you know, maybe with that, you know, kind of like Guard is really kind of one of the faces of CCP, so maybe that'll help things out a little bit. He might be a little bit more respected, you know, among like the dev community and things like that. So, you know, maybe they'll get more exposure to teams and things, and maybe things are going to change. You know, Seagull came in, you know, towards the end of 10 and going into 11 and saying how they're committed to this. They're going to change it. They've said it probably 5 or 6 times in the past. Nothing really ever changes. I mean, what it comes down to is the teams don't have to do anything with the CSM. And so, you know, there's a lot of guys in there that don't believe in it, don't care for it, don't want, you know, these, you know, players that are kind of like, you know, fly-by-night junior, want to be junior game developers, like, you know, telling them what their ideas are and giving them merits on it. And so there you go. That's what you're gonna have, unless they fundamentally change the way that they want to do things to actively include the CSM and more stuff. I really don't think I think you're going to continue to see the slide, whether Guard's on there or not. But maybe, you know, with Guard there will be less drama. So I don't know.
Well, I think as of lately, you know, the media itself, the e-media, it has been more powerful, has had a bigger voice, and I don't know, in influencing CCP than the CSM ever has now.
Or the forums too. I mean, really, I've lost count of the times during CSM 9 where, you know, somebody like Fozzie would come out, and I'm, you know, not just to single him out, he wasn't the only one, but to put a familiar face on it, would come out and say, all right, guys, so here's what we've got. This is what we're thinking about. You know, let's get some feedback, right? And we've got maybe 24 to 48 hours before they actually announce it. So we'd give some feedback. You know, people would say, oh, this is what I think, or I'd change this, or tweak that, or do whatever. You know, if it was like a typo or something like that, then they'd go in and they'd fix it, or tighten up some wording so that it was better, easier to understand, like if there's some confusion in something. But aside from that, it'd be like, all right, guys, well, thanks for the feedback. We're just going to go ahead and put it on the forums and see what the players think anyway.
Yeah, I've always, you know, hated that sort of approach. Where you're like, yeah, well, we're going to do this, but, you know, we're going to see what the players like. You know what? You've got the resource of the CSM on there. That, I mean, you know, again, what I've heard, you know, use it. Use the resource there and, you know, make tweaks. And, okay, you may not put those tweaks out straight away, but you then got it on a big, you know, a big notepad to go, well, you know what they've said about this, you know, people said about this, and, you know, and that's how it is. But, you know, breaking it down, when it comes down to it, you've got we're going to look at this and we're going to look at that, and Cortana, I don't really want you to kick in, and it just did. It just started dictating to me because I'm using Windows 10, whatever. You break it down, and you got the feedback, and concise feedback given works. And yes, you agree. The Eve Media right now have a bigger, how do I say, a bigger way of giving feedback to the players, or giving feedback to CCP. But, you know, you've got places like Reddit, you've got Slack, you've got the forums, you've got Twitter, you've got actual meetups, real life meetups, where you can just sit down and talk with a developer. Because remember, talking like this is all well and good, but unless you can actually see someone and, you know, actually see their expressions and all that. You know, text is one thing, voice is a completely different thing, and you can get how someone is saying things over voice rather than over, text.
Well, it's also about the following you have, right? I mean, I've used as an example before. I mean, a lot of people know Jester Trek and I didn't always see eye to eye, or Ripper Tag, or whatever you want to call him. But, when he was on CSM8, right? Remember the whole thing that happened with Erotica 1? Mm-hmm. He, as the CSM vice chair, attempted to, push some change with CCP. They didn't listen to him. He, puts out a blog post, does some stuff on the forums. I mean, the guy, he had a huge audience, and by presenting his view in an articulate way, he gets a lot of people behind him. And the next thing you know, over the course of a month, then Erotica 1 is gone for me. He gets banned. It's very public. It's a huge fiasco. But if he didn't have that media following that he had, that I don't think that would have happened. It wouldn't have drummed up enough interest in the community. Wouldn't have gotten enough people pissed off and frothing at the mouth, and there you have it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, just looking at in Twitch chat, Zanuri got 50% more first place votes than Bobmon, and if it was first past the post, Erica, aka DG would have got on, and Bobmon didn't got on. And Freelancer says, did Sugar get disgruntled because she was ignored or not taken serious because she had a large folder of stuff every time from player feedback and issues? Well,
I can't speak for 10. I mean, I can tell you on 9, and everybody would agree. I mean, she was a workhorse. She worked harder than anybody else in there, by like far and away. Second place isn't even close to what she put in. You'd have to ask her specifically. My suspicion is that, because she put so much work into it, I mean, you've got to have some burnout. You do that for 2 years. With the amount of, I don't think she missed a meeting. I don't think, stuff where everybody else was working. I mean, I honestly believe that she would rework her schedule so that she could be there for everything. But then, it comes down to it. You go into CSM 9. We got some changes done, pushed through for LowSec. CSM 10, not a real whole bunch of movement. And then going forward, CCP basically saying, we're focusing on Citadels now and this, that, and the other thing. And LowSec can go get, they didn't exactly say this, but this is the impression you get for them. LowSec can get fucked for right now. We're not touching you guys for a while. And then, so, I mean, if you're a big LowSec person who's getting a lot of feedback from low-sec people, and you've got a lot of ideas and stuff, and you've got the mandate from CCP that's saying hey, we're just really not doing anything with low-sec for the foreseeable future, why bother?
Yeah, well, this is the thing. When I've said it before, I'll say it again. When you get
Funky, did you ask yourself on air, what is our purpose? I mean, I've seen a lot of you guys write stuff up. What is our purpose, or this is what our goal has been as a team, not as platform that you're trying to go for, but what is your purpose there? I think people get burnt out personally because it's we work so hard, we talk to them so much, and then a lot of it just seems for naught, right?
It's beating your face into a wall. I mean, it really can be. You go in with the expectation, you've got the platforms and stuff, and I crack up now that I've been through the process, because I mean, I did the same thing. When I was running for CSM, I was like, oh yeah, I want to see this happen, I want to see that happen, I want to push for this, I want to push for that. You're not some kind of politician who's affecting any kind of policy or anything like that. Then you get there and you realize oh shit, any ideas that I have or anything like that. I mean, basically what it comes down to is that CCP says, we're thinking of this, if they even decide to tell you about it before they go live with it. Here's kind of what we're thinking. You guys got any feedback on this? And you can say stuff. I remember one meeting that I went to, early on, they were talking about, it had something to do with, it was missions and stuff like that. And I brought up, how broken factional warfare missions were, especially the level 4s. With certain respects, at the time you could, if you were, doing Minmatar or Caldari, you could do them in stealth bombers versus Amar and Galente had to, get these really blinged out Tech 3 cruisers to do them at the very least, if not, battleships, which would just die if you were flying them around. And then there was this stunned silence as people are looking at each other really uncomfortably, and they're we're not talking about that. So it was oh, okay. I thought we were talking about, fixing missions, but whatever. So it ended up being about something else entirely. Now, to their credit, a year and a half later, they did come in and make some minor tweaks so that you can't run those things in stealth bombers anymore. But still, It's that kind of thing. So you get in there, and so you realize that you can't push for anything. There's like, if you've got an agenda that's going in there, like you can ask for it all you want, but if it's not on CCP's like already roadmap, they're not going to change course, because a bunch of players want something, taken care of. So yeah, it's nothing like that. It's just kind of like you're a focus group basically. You give feedback on stuff if they decide to include you in it, which is the other part of it that we've rehashed a bunch of times.
Well, there is that. That's always been the major thing of, well, if they include you. Because I hate that. I've always hated that sort of thing where, like you said, well, you know what, we could work on low sec, but we're going to work on null sec because it's a majority thing. We're going to tweak a few things in low sec or in high sec, but we're not going to fix it, and we're not going to do that. I'm a PvE player, right? I am a massive PvE player. I haven't played EVE properly for years because nothing appeals to me right now. But if they did massive changes, great, it would. But I wouldn't want that to happen at the expense of all the other players out there. I wouldn't want to say, well, we need to make sure that all the PvE players out there. Yeah, there might be a lot of PvE players, but remember, this game is based on player decisions and nullsec and fighting and wars and conflict and wars in high sec and stuff like that, and that's where I feel it. That's where I feel it in my opinion. But
well, and I think that's why there's low voter turnout too, because everybody knows right now they're trying to fix a huge portion of the game. They already know what they want to do. They already got a roadmap, like Funky said, and there's absolutely nothing right now that's going to change their mind on what they already have planned out. Why do they need this CSM for even this whole year? You know what I mean? I think a lot of people are sitting back going, well, they're gonna do what they want to do, and also a lot of us are waiting for the game to kind of be completed, right? We finally got Citadels and we got some changes to the caps, but there's still more. There's such huge elements that got to change in order for us to have the complete game again. You know what I mean? And to have the bigger wars that people want.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? Let's sidestep into that. Let's sidestep into World War B, the Easter War, the next Great War, whatever you want to call it. FCON just went, sup, bro? We're gone. Yeah, and again, how many is this now? FCON. All right, but leaving the Imperium, right? We've had SMA, Circle of Two, FCON. Who else?
Well, as a big server of the Kool-Aid, or for me, I knew this. Well, you could see the writing on the wall about 2 months ago when we started getting told, "Hey, everybody to Serenenin," and basically it is going to be, we're going to deny them fights. We're going to pull back. It's the fighting for space. It's just not worth it right now. And now we're going to see who was here for the space, who was here for the greater good of the coalition. It was so easy, like with I'll say the Bastion and a few others, to go, yeah, they were just here for the space. They weren't here to get in any fights or to do anything, and that actually happened as well. I'll have to find it again, but one of our groups, there was 3 corps that left the Bastion to stay in Vale because they didn't want to move. They wanted Vale. They don't care. They decided that whoever moves in there, they'll just be under their rule or whatever because they love the space. They don't want to move. So that, I think a lot of that was happening and because they were so big and because the Imperium wasn't getting attacked, a lot of people put ults in the Imperium, right? And that's why the numbers are getting bloated as well. So a lot of people from PL, I mean, Snotshot has admitted it. A lot of people admitted that they had tunes in not just for spying, but because it was great space and you could do anything you want. That's where they were making their money. And one of the first people that are going to scream or the people that are going to leave are going to be those that don't have the space anymore, right? They can't do what they want to do, and they're not going to stay there for the greater good, right? They can't. You know, they're not getting the fight they wanted, and then at the same time, they're not making the money that they could have been. So no, it's a double fu, right? It was and so this is all kind of pre-planned if you think about it, at the top levels of the Imperium, because basically what Matani and them have done, and this reminds me of back in the day when Cartoon was around, when came back and everybody was bitching about what was going on, and he went, you know what, F you, and started kicking corpse out, see ya. Well, this is kind of the same thing, when people's bitching about, Matani, the way things are done, who's here for the greater good. Let's see who's here for the greater good at the end of it. And I don't think the Imperium's not going to go away. I don't think the Goons are going to go away, but it's definitely going to be a lot smaller. It's going to definitely have a lot smaller footprint. Mm-hmm. And, if you try to do anything huge right now, Voltron's just going to form and come and smack you again. So, nobody's going to get the war that they wanted out of there.
Well, again, is it though? Is it the war they wanted? Is it
sometimes you just want to see the world burn.
I agree.
And it was, and that Voltron that farmed up, they wanted it to do that. They didn't get the fights. They had to sit there and grind through the systems, and they did it. But they didn't get the BTAC-R. They didn't get these huge grind-em fleets. They just, all they got to do was, let's go shoot saw blazers, and that's what they ended up doing. There were some little fights here and there, but nothing so major. They wanted that, we're going to trap all your stuff in a station type of fights. No, nothing was happening like that.
Yeah, it's just, the thing is, I've always said this about the Imperium, or the CFC, or whatever they are. I just always felt they were too big. I honestly thought they were too big of a, an alliance, a group, a coalition, whatever you want to call them, because they controlled, 2/3 of space or whatever, and everyone was afraid to attack them and everything like that. And when it comes down to it, if you're boring the pants off your enemies and they're leaving the game, or they're just not going to go play, they're going to go play something else, yes, you've won the fight, but really, you've lost the war, because you're still there doing this and doing that, and we're having fun, we're blue balling them and all this, when, you know what, that's not, in my opinion, a good part of the game. Blue balling someone.
I think it was a total clean out. That's all it was for me, to look at and go, hey, this is a perfect time to clean out, and to, I don't know, I'm still on board with it. I guess I'm long-term player of the CFC, back in the day when it was NC, and, so I've been in with these same guys for a very long time, and I it's always been for the greater good. It's not been, it's just like for MPX, my corp, we're there for the greater good. We happen to be very loyal to the CEO of the Bastion, not the Bastion itself, but the CEO of the Bastion, but it's also to the Imperium, and we know we can go anywhere in the Imperium. Mm-hmm. Where we're needed right now is where we're at right now, so it is what it is. But
I suppose, again, it's just, the whole thing. I've heard you say it before, Bugan, and I've heard other people say it. They're saying, "Oh, well, we'll do what we want to do, and we'll deny them fights." Well,
I don't know how viable that tactic is anymore.
It really isn't, because if somebody is that annoyed and depressed about the game, they'll just go, "Fuck it, I'm going to go play something else," and then they'll not come back. And then
this wasn't this whole blue ball tactic, or this whole tactic, to me, had nothing to do with the war itself. Mm-hmm. This was all about the clean out. This was blue balling ourselves to the point where you're going to see who's going to be here at the end of the day. Because if with what, when we're not going to give that fight, we're just going to give up the space. Let them grind it out. So those people are not getting the fight. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, you know. But at the same time, your people are going to get mad, and you're going to find out which ones were there. Well, the ones that are screaming the loudest are the ones that were the spies, the ones that can't make their money. They're not getting the fight, and they're not making their money. It's a double whammy on their part.
I think Noisy made a great point in the Twitch chat there. Blue balling high sec war deckers, boring, not fun. Drives people from the game. Blue balling and null sec, great, fun. But yeah, I might have told you, Wiggles, that one time that I made like a new character and I joined like a high sec corp, and then they got war decked, and then they were like, all right guys, we're just gonna dock up for the next week. Just nobody go out and anything. Don't feed them any kills. And then it just like I docked up, and I don't think I logged back in on that character again. I was just like, ah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just...
But I don't think it's really that different in nullsec. Like, all right, great, you dock up and then you get locked out of your station. So that's even worse. At least the other way, you know, once the war deck's over, you can come back and just carry on. You know, you lose all your shit. It's all locked up someplace. Now what are you going to do?
Yeah, this is it. And again, you said, yeah, it drives people from the game. And that's the problem. It drives people from the game when we want more people to be playing this game, because remember, you know, and again, I'm not going to use any one person as an example, but people move on. People just decide, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm moving on and, you know, having a life. There are people that started this game in their in their very early 20s who are now, you know, in their early 30s. They're married, they've got kids, they've got a mortgage, and they don't have time. And that's again, it's the same crap we talk about every week. But you know what? This is what it is. There needs to be a massive breakup of the CFC and other, you know, other Voltron style, you know, the NBC. People need to be fighting their neighbors and saying, you know what, we own this 4 constellations. If you want it, come and take it. And they defend it. And with Citadels, I hope this will happen. You know?
Well, right now, it's not even worth putting down a Citadel. It doesn't matter who you are or what. It's going to get killed.
Yeah.
Everybody,
A lot
so
of them
many
have made
people
it up.
run.
I mean, the high-profile ones have gone down, but...
Yeah. The ones that people are talking about and going, oh, we're going to push this down and we're going to do it. Yeah, of course, everyone's going to want to be the first to blow up one or the first to blow up, you know, the keep stars, you know, or you know, the ones that are there. But the thing that gets me, you know what, and I think about it every day. Yes, the game is about working with your friends and your allies to build something better. But this is the thing that has got me for the last couple of weeks now. Seriously, the last couple of weeks. I don't like the Upworld Consortium. I just don't like them. They are hideously bad. They're like, oh, do this and be happy and be in space and da 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 da. No. You know what? I've said this before, but I'm just gonna say this. You know, the Upworld Consortium are the public good face of the Sanchez Nation. They really are. I think. Tinfoil finished.
Like that supreme leader in Demolition Man. Be well.
Yeah, be well. I'm really nice. Fucking kill the bastard. Sort of like that.
But right now, too, it's not worth PvEing anywhere. Oh, well, especially if you're in the north. But it's they need to do some tweaks. It's not worth owning the space right now. It's not worth being, you know, the. It's just not worth it.
This is the thing. Shouldn't owning the space be more than enough? Shouldn't it be that you've got your name on the map and someone wants to come take it? You know, okay, I understand.
It's not it. No, it's not worth it anymore. The risk versus reward's not worth it anymore.
But then the thing is, why do people want to own space? What's the thing for owning space right now? Your name on the map, maybe some good ratting and mining space, you know, that sort of thing. The difference is that not everyone wants to do that. Not everyone wants to get out there and take that sort of stuff, you know, and have it. And because remember, a lot of these people go, oh, I've just got to fund my PvP or fund this and I've got to go do some ratting, you know. And a lot of people go, oh, we're gonna do this because I want to, I want to fund my account. I don't want to have to pay the real life money for my account. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say this right now, right? 110%, right? If you can't actually afford in your real life your EVE account, then stop playing. You have something wrong in your life.
Yeah, you know what? I had more. I've always had more fun in the game when I paid for it, like in a year in advance, for each one of my accounts. Because when you're not worried about having to Plex, the game is a lot more fun. When you're stressing, trying to do all the things in the game and then try to Plex at the same time, yeah, unless you belong to a good group that can make the money to do it, but if there's a lot of people that are not in good groups and they get burnt out of the game because they're trying to Plex.
Yeah,
and also
grind.
Yeah, the grinding, and unless you're really good at something and you're okay with, really, without diversifying, and you're really good at one thing and you've got a niche in it, I don't know, man. You either got to way diversify or you got to be super localized, and it's either one or the other. If you're trying to do a little bit in the middle, you're done. And I don't know, if you're trying to rely on ratting to make all your money, well, unless you've got a bunch of accounts that you're out there doing it and you got your own little militia, it's still not worth it.
I'm just looking. I'm in Jita right now. Plexes are under 900 mil. They're 870. Right, you can buy a Plex right now for 880 on the market. The rest of them are 904, 905, give or take. But selling to the market is 876. It's dropping. It's dropping like a stone. And I'm looking at the moving averages and all that. It is the 20-day moving average is on a downward curve, and it projects in the next 10 days or so. We're going to be looking at the actual prices of maybe the average. Well, this is the average. Let's actually look at the average. Show me the table. The average 940, 910, 940, 911, 910, 912, 910, 96, 96, 900, 876, 871, 880. So the average price today is 880 for a Plex. It's all dropping. And Freelance says it, all I ever wanted to walk in stations since 09. Packet Creeper, bar Eve is about spaceships, not walking in stations. No, Packet Creeper, Eve is about stories and having fun with your friends. In my opinion, anyway.
Well, the old vision of walking in stations, like having a bar and bar fights and stuff, that was really cool.
Yeah.
But Soundwave is long gone. That'll never happen now.
Yeah, that'll never happen again. But, you might actually get, walking in stations and stuff like that in a different format. You may get it. We may get it. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see some sort of first person, third person, a bit to Eve. If all it is you go around and you do things and you can go and do some basic stuff. But, again, as we all know, Eve's about spaceships and stuff like that. But the change, friends, who's this friend you speak of, Tavers? Yeah, friends, the people you're in corporations with, Actually, hold on, wait, you play Eve Online. You don't have friends.
Yeah, the issue with that and the walking in stations, and this is why I truly believe that it's really dead. Once you got rid of the White Wolf side, and the guys that were working on World of Darkness, the stuff that we've got, the walking in stations that we have right now, the captain's quarters, that was developed by those guys, right? With a little bit of help from guys at CCP. That whole team is gone. Like, you're not gonna, unless they're tweaking a couple of textures or something like that. Like, there's no major additions or changes coming in, and because they'd have to like hire a bunch of people to do that, and they're not going to do that, right? Because Eve is about spaceships, and look at what happened last time. Never mind that it was a monocle that you can't buy on the New Eden store anymore, but it's done where it is. They accomplished what they wanted to, at least to start with, and then the rest of the project they determined, people don't want that, so it's gone.
Again, well, this is it. I think people were scared. They were scared of what's CCP doing? Where's my flying in space? And they were worried about this. And people say, "Oh, fuck Dust and all this." Yeah, okay, Dust shuts down the end of this month, by the way. Yeah, remember that. It's gone. The servers, not the servers get shut off because it runs on TQ, but they'll just stop public access to it. It'll be gone. They finish it off. And I've said this before. The reason Dust is Sunlight is because the PlayStation 3 is end of life. Sony are going to announce that soon. They're going to announce that the PlayStation 3 is end of life soon and done. And PSN is going to be shifting over to something else, right?
Which a lot of people called when they announced that, too. We were just like, wait a second, the PS4 was announced and you're going to put this on PS3. Why would you do that?
Yeah, exactly. But, and then also you've got Project Nova, or what was Project Legion, now Project Nova. All these sides that coming to PC, Unreal 4, all that, all the stuff that people said, oh, it should be done. Yeah, okay. I had no problem with CCP working on Dust and trying it because it was something they were trying. They were trying to see what what could possibly happen? Yes, they learned something. They learned some things, and that's it. They walk away with some experience. And now you've got Valkyrie and you've got Gunjack, two massively successful VR games that people are out there playing and loving. Okay, they're on first-gen hardware. And this is what I've always said, never buy first-gen. Never, ever buy first-gen hardware for anything. Because you're always going to be stuck with the initial bunch of stuff that's like, oh, well, it can do this, but, the new one that's come out, 6 months down the line can do that, and it's so much better. No, wait 2 or 3 years. And
if nobody buys the first gen stuff, then you're not going to get the second gen stuff.
Oh, I agree. You'll always have the early adopters and the people who always want it. Have got to have the new thing. They've got to have the latest Apple Watch, even if it's no different to the old one. It's just a different band, something like that. Me and Harry in Twitch. Some say Eve is about people. No, it's not. You get with the right group of people who make Eve great. It's about Spaceship Sandbox awesomeness, not these tarred nerd pixel-based relationships some want to believe it's about. Harry being Harry, but
I think Harry wants to make Eve great again.
I think Harry was listening to last week where we said make Eve great again. Oh, and by the way, just for last week, and Sindel, if you're listening this week, yes, we didn't say we actually did say call your child Angry Concord guy, or Eve or something like that. I know we love you, and we were only joking, And I love the fact that she was listening to it, and later on, I had a massive angry tweet come out, and it's just in all caps, I'm not calling my child Angry Concord guy. Would have been fun as a middle name, but yeah. Anyway. Yes, so yeah, rounding up what we were talking about, FCON leaves the Imperium and resets them. That was news that came out, a little bit earlier on.
Did they reset
today.
them? I thought they were keeping them blue.
Nope, FCON has left the Imperium and reset them, according to a statement put out today. More shooty pew pew. This one needs to happen. Then you need to have your close friends, but then the colleagues that you work with and the people that are down the street. You need to be able to shoot them in the face if you really want to.
That's just it. Blues are boring, man.
Yeah, you need to have your immediate blues, your people who you fly with in your corporation, and maybe your alliance. But if your alliance is, 30,000 people, then there's something wrong. And yes, Masterov in-game, FCON leaving the CFC was not surprising. I called this the week before CO2 left. I said there's going to be 4 or 5 alliances, big alliances leaving and resetting over the next few months. And the CFC as we know it won't ever be there. And as you said, Pukin, it's trimming the fat, it's cutting it down to see who's left. But I just think at the end of it, with DJ doing what he's doing with the whole, we're going to make goons great again, and I'm going to use the Trump metaphor as many times as I can today.
Building a wall around Losec and stuff. Yeah.
I think what he's doing, he's trying to bring true goons back, pure goons who are pure and born there. And
we'll just call them OGs. That's what I've been calling them, OGs. Yeah, there'll be some OGs, but man, a lot of those OGs are gone right now, and I don't know how many of them are going to come back. And a lot of, I don't know. We'll have to see. I like the group of guys. Don't get me wrong. I like Darius Johnson and the guys they put together. Mm-hmm. Java Junkie's down there now with them, and Kugu's coming back. He's got to come back under a different name, right? Because I think his doing is still banned. But you got Kugu, but Kugu'sman's going to be coming back, right? So, yeah. I mean, it's you're looking at some of these OGs and. It should be fun, because you're gonna have 2 pillars of the goons now, and looking at this, 2 months ago, a lot of us were saying, well, you know what, it's gonna be, the Imperium will be 3 huge alliances. Yeah. When it's all said and done, it'll be 3 huge alliances working together. Because that's the way Saab needs to work. If you can't help somebody. Remember, all of us were able in the past to go and help each other out. Well, you can't do that now, right? With the space that we had, with the footprint that we had, you couldn't run from like the Bastion space over in Vale over to help out SMA over in Fade. It's almost impossible with the new game mechanics. Not saying that that's a bad thing. It just makes it so you know that your space is. We had too much, and we knew this, and we held it for as long as we could, but we knew that we had held too much. And then the other thing comes down to the way the saw blazers work, right? And those kind of game mechanics. Again, not necessarily a bad thing, but now you're in order to have a big groups like we did, you have to have basically mega alliances to hold that kind of space, so that you can use the saw lasers and to, it works a lot better. Things become more streamlined. But the hard thing is having people don't like to lose their name, right? So, Afghan's not going to like merge into somebody and give up their name and whatever, you're looking at these different groups. So, like I said, it's gotta be cleaned out. You gotta get it back down to the fundamentals, and then you'll see which pillars are gonna grow. And from my understanding, is that DJ and Matani have already hugged out in California, made up, and burning the candle from both ends.
Yeah, this is the thing. If they have done that, it's a massive, massive meta play. But I'd love to see. I'd love to see DJ stab him in the back and say, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna do what I do.
He probably will, because that's DJ.
Exactly.
When you look at the goons of old, they were a bunch of asshats. They were a bunch of idiots running around in space, and they were literally a bunch of asshats, which would test what literally became afterwards. When you had the breakup of the goons, when everything broke apart, people don't realize that. When Matani stepped forward and he took over the Goonswarm Federation, that they wanted to change. They didn't want to be that everybody thinking of them as asshats and idiots and this and that. They wanted to be structured.
They wanted to be serious business.
Yeah, they wanted to be structured. They wanted to be a conglomerate that was going to be feared, that kind of thing, that they're organized and structured. And, they wanted to they wanted to lose that kind of moniker of, well, goon's a goon, right? They didn't want to have that. And but just over time, people let them, but they still became really structured. So what you're going to have now is you're going to have the goons of the old, right? The old style where we're just a bunch of asshats and idiots. And then you're going to have on the other end of the spectrum, you're going to have all the... So people just will be able to fly for whatever goons they fits them. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, it does.
So if you like being in the structured, the really organized, or you could go and fly and be a bunch of asshats. You could be one or the other. It's up to you. So I like it. I think it's gonna be interesting to see. And I'm sure DJ is gonna be DJing, because and he's already even said that. Well, we're not teaming up with the new goons, basically. Since we're the old goons, we're not going to team up with the new goons, and we're not going to do this and that. But just wait and see. SA is SA. So
well, that's what it is, I suppose. Test are always going to be Test. They're always going to be a Reddit-based alliance. They're taking space in Vale. And they're moving on, but they're always going to do what they do. Goons are always going to be goons. You're always going to have the high-sec players who like doing their missions and mining, and that's how it is. And I don't want to say this, but CCP are always going to be CCP. At their core, they're always going to be a company trying to make money. And don't forget that. I blurt on about it every week, but you know what? It's true. They're a business. They're there to make money. They're not, as much as a lot of people want to, think they're there to make an awesome video game. Yeah, they are. But they're there also to make money, because without making money, nothing can happen. Nothing can happen. So Harry says, so DJ wants Anal to make up and wants a battle of Nerf Noodle Swords and full LARP style. I would want to go that graphic, Harry, but maybe. As I just touched on, Test are expanding into Veil of the Silent on May the 6th, apparently, according to EVE24. Major fighting erupted in northern Veil of the Silent between Test and Russian sovereignty holders Infinity Space. Apparently, they went in there and, two fleets came to heads, and 20 minutes... during the 20 minutes, Infinity Space and their allies lost over 150 ships, including 5 carriers, and an estimated cost of 60 billion ISK. Test went in there and just said, yep, thank you very much, please. Again, it shows that people are out there doing stuff. With FCON leaving and, with CO2 and SMA and all the people leaving the Imperium at the time, the changing and the way of... It's the changing of the old guard, if you like. I think. I don't know. Crossings episode had a nice little post this week. Dailies and Eve, a design challenge by Astarothi. Now, again, I haven't spoke to either of you two about this. What do you think about the daily reward feature that's planned to come?
I think that's cool.
I don't know nothing about it.
Okay. Right. Go on.
Go ahead.
All right. Basically, like in World of Warcraft and in other games, you have a daily quest to do. You log in, you do it, you get a reward. CCP are going to start that. They said they were testing out. You log in, you shoot one NPC rat wherever it is. We're going to give you 10,000 skill points a day. That's it. That was a test.
Just bring back research points, because that's what you did back in the day. If you wanted that kind of thing, you just go back and do research points. Make them a little bit better. I mean, why do they have to always reinvent the wheel? They had it beforehand. It was called research points.
Well, was research points active? I probably have like millions of research points because I haven't collected them in forever. But
yeah, you just now you have to pay. When you cash them out, you have to pay as well. But they still, you still, you don't make as much. You make about half as what they used to be, but they still go. So I mean, you could still do the login and do the thing with the research points and then get the full amount, or you just collect half the amount, every day and never worry about it.
Except research points used to get you T2 BPOs in the lottery, and now they get you data cores, which is not very exciting. I mean, with the new thing, you know what? I think it's kind of cool, especially like if you're a newer player. Like 10,000 skill points kind of means something, right?
Oh yeah.
If you've got 160 million, you're kind of like, all right, yeah, whatever. But I mean, it adds up, and it's unallocated skill points. You can save them up, and then over the course of a couple weeks, and you've got over 100,000 of them, and you might be able to like, oh wow, I need this skill, and I can just pop that in there, right? So, and it's active, so it means that you got to undock, you got to do something, so you can't just sit in the station and spin your ship to get it. So I think it's all right. It's not so much that it's going to be game breaking, but it's enough that especially for a newer player, it can give you a little bit of a leg up, or you hold on to them, and then one of your buddies says, hey, you really need this skill, and then maybe you've got enough banked up to do it.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, as a new as a starter thing. Yeah, I like that.
I've just seen the news and stuff, the sports news, because it's the last day of the English Premier League here in the UK. The last game, everyone plays on the Sunday, except Manchester United's match was abandoned because of a security alert. So there's one game that's actually got to be played. But up until this morning, Tottenham Hotspur, the team I support, were above Arsenal, and we've been above Arsenal all season. We lost 5-1 today to Newcastle. They won 4-0 against Aston Villa, so they went above us by a point. Still, we're playing Champions League football next year, so that's all that cares. Anyway, that's sports ball. Sports ball. Yeah.
There you go. And meanwhile, Montreal Impact are still kings of the East, even though they haven't actually won a game in like 5, but whatever.
Really? Seriously?
We keep drawing. It's horrible.
It's still a point. If as long as you've got more points than the others, and even if you're getting goals, you're racking your goal difference up. It's all good. I'll tell you what, something I'm going to do. I'm going to do some totally shameless self-promotion now, because I can. So, there's a little website that I run. It's called TotalEve.com. You may or may not have heard of it. Well, earlier on this week, we turned on HTTPS security. So basically, it's all encrypted transactions between the site and the user. And you're wondering why, Wiggles? Why would you do this? You don't secure any information. Well, we kind of do now, because you can log in with your Eve account on the site. And if you wish to, you can change what you see. So say, for example, you don't like seeing Eve News 24 on your feed. You log in, you manage your preferences, and you just remove it. And it doesn't show it when you're logged in. You know, you can remove it. You can do the same with the Reddit if you don't like Reddit, or, you know, the dev blogs. I don't know why you want to remove the dev blogs or the dev posts, but you can do that. Complete new redesign, thanks to Mad Dog. Basically my web guy. The guy's, you know, ex-DJ Mad Dog. He's doing some web stuff for me for it. So he relaunched it. He's redesigned it slightly. We had a slight bug with Apple when we launched yesterday. Apple don't like updated coded JavaScript that works properly and it is actually more optimized. They don't like that. So what happened is it broke on iPhones and iPads and Safari. But we fixed it today. We found out why and we fixed it. So yeah, totaleve.com. Go there. Sign in. Customize your display. Works perfectly fine. All that. So yeah, also, as I've said before, the new Eve Radio site. I said it at the beginning of the show, and I will say it again now. Complete and ready to go. GamingNow.net is where you need to go, because that is where we now live. Even though we still live on eve-radio.com, we're slowly moving everything over to Gaming Now. So go have a look there, check that stuff out, and see what's been going on over there, because it's a lovely new site and it looks all good and super sexy, and we've put the guys have put a lot of work into it. So go have a look. You know you want to, because, well, have a look. Right, anything else that we want to go over, or are we good for an hour? Because an hour seems good to me today. You guys, anything you want to bring up?
You were going to mention my shameless plug on Podside? Is that what you?
Well, we're going to do that. I'm going to say if there's anything else you guys want to bring up, like news-wise for Eve News, or we can then start wrapping up.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything else. I've actually been paying attention to Eve the last couple of weeks too. So
shock horror, Funky Bacon coming back to Eve. Scandal news at 11.
I know, right?
Exactly. And eventually you'll be like, you know what will happen? They'll have you on the meta show because you'll take down the Imperium. It'll say, regards, Funky Bacon. Massive role reversal.
I know, wouldn't that be hilarious?
That'd be fucking great.
I've already had my "Oh Captain, my Captain" moments on Twitch and stuff, though. I think I'm all set.
Yes. Right, so, Pugan, you need to, you can let players and people know here about Podside, the podcast that you guys have run for the last nearly 4 years.
Yeah, so, we shut everything down. We left the feed up there for, people that want to go back and listen to all the episodes, but we took everything down for now. It's been moved over onto a different hoster. We're doing the same thing. We're rebranding things, and we're revamping, we've always wanted Podside to be an actual internet radio station, and that's what we're kind of working on, is getting to that, and having more flavors to the Podside Networks itself. So we're going from Podside to Podside Networks, and somewhere we're hoping to be done with everything somewhere around E-Vegas time frame. That's the goal anyways. We've set up our own Slack channel so we can work with those that want to, the content generators. It's going to be all about supporting content generators, getting them going, helping them out all the way around. It's going to be a different format that you would see like on the TMC or something like that. And that's another thing that we're going to try getting into as well, is doing more streaming on Twitch and putting stuff up on YouTube and taking advantage of those other media outlets. We played around with them in the past, and just because of a lot of times the content that we have on our shows, it doesn't work well for Twitch, their EULA. or even for YouTube. So, that's the reason why we didn't really. We were allowing people to just say pretty much anything they wanted on our show, although we tried to keep it tame. It's really hard to. You get some guys with that like their words, So, anywho's, yeah, we'll hopefully by October we'll have that all nailed out, all rolled out, and you'll see us back. 450 something episodes is what we were just shy. I think it was like 449, I think, or whatever. But we lost some episodes, and some gremlins were there. But over 450 episodes, over 4 years of content. And we just it's time to step up and get out of that plateau that we were on for the last 3 years and really take it to the next level. A couple of years ago at eVegas, I talked about it. We were going to do something called Podside Creative, which is one of my partners, one of the business partners kind of idea. And he's still going to run with that, but when it comes to Podside itself, podside.net and the multiplexgaming.com websites, we're going to revamp and retool and redo everything with those. So, but I am one guy, so that's the reason why too I'm putting out 6 months is because I am only one guy and I do most of the coding. So I'm going to need that much time to get everything done.
Yeah, and this is the thing, it's making sure it's done right, not just doing it and shipping it and say, right, it's done, ship it, done. It's making sure you do it right and making sure that everything works correct. And I've always said this, I wish you the best of luck in everything that you do, and I've said to you personally, I've said to you privately and publicly, any help you need, just give me a shout. If anything I can do, I'm always around. I'm doing the things here at Eve Radio. I'm doing all the stuff that I do. Life is life, and I understand how busy stuff can get. As I say, we've just completely relaunched Total Eve, and we only found out today there was a bug on it that affects Apple. So we just fixed that bug, and we are working on color theming and all that, and the ability to change the orders of stuff. We're just slowly working on it. From what it was back when it first started of being just a small little RSS aggregation site, going up to something now where you can actually log in and do stuff, it's a massive change. And I know how much hard work, our web guy, Mad Dog's put into it, and going forward, I'm sure you'll be doing the same there. You'll be actually, working, as much as you can to get it done and push it out there. So again, wish you the best of luck. And you know what? I can't wait for the shows to come back because it fills a hole in my week. It does. And I do miss them because, part of the Eve, thing of when I listen to podcasts all day long, part of them are Eve podcasts. So
I miss that sexy Minnesota accent.
I haven't been on there for a while. It took quite a toll on me, but what I had to do was I had been working on the corp itself in game. So I was doing that kind of stuff. Rebuilding the corp, rebuilding a new corp website on top of that too. It just new services, and so I was working on that for like basically the last year and a half. You can only argue so much with Snotshot and some of the guys. I love them to death, but those shows were getting so draining. When you get done with it, 3 hours of arguing with people. We were only doing it at that time twice a week, I've never once did a Thursday show with Manny and those guys, but doing the twice a week, even that just took a lot out of me. But we didn't want to back down from the twice a week, so having we had Gil there for a little while, and then we had Urziel for a little while, and even for them, they felt it too. They were like, wow, to run a show and to do it consistently and for as long as we did it was a lot of work. The people don't realize it. I'm just gonna stream, I'll just hit the buttons and go.
Well, yeah. You've got two. I don't want to toot my own horn, but you got myself and Funky here. We've done it for God knows how long. I mean, I've nearly been here 9 years. Funky, you've been here longer than me. And it's one of those things. We've done it, and you've near enough exclusively always done. You have exclusively done talk shows, Funky. I've done them between that and music as well, and it takes toll on you, even doing 3 hours.
Yeah, it does. I mean, even. So, and we didn't do a lot of fancy, editing to the show, right? We didn't have bumpers. We didn't, the only thing we did was literally just take the pauses out, take the dead air out, and put it up. But the whole making sure you have people and trying to, especially some of the personalities that we had on the show over those 4 years, where you try to stay on topic, or the number of people we'd have on a show too, that could get kind of, so yeah, it's a lot of work, and I miss it. I do want to get back to it, but when we go do it, we wanted to do it right, and have a better situation going on than what we had, and and offering people more opportunities, not just to be that talking head per se, because there's a lot of people that are willing to be talking heads, but there's not a lot of people willing to put the work in behind it, and that's, people realize that there's that to do both those things. It's a lot of work. You guys know, but I don't think a lot of people out there know.
No, it's a pain in the ass, dude.
Yeah, you get to that point of where you're doing it week in, week out, and I've personally had this recently where I'm like, do I really want to do it anymore? And I do it because I like doing it, but you know what? I think we're going to wrap it up here, because otherwise we're going to end up talking for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours.
Just depressing ourselves.
Yeah. We're going to wrap it up there. So again, I'd like to thank Funky and Pukin for spending their morning, my afternoon here. Dirk should be back next week, provided he doesn't go out on the Saturday night, and we should be back to a normal show of talking about stuff, unless we've got more breakups in the Imperium and stuff like that. So, Funky Bacon. Well, if you're watching the Twitch, you can see it at Funky Bacon on Twitter, at Far From Pukin, which spell FRFRMPUKIN on Twitter, and mine is at WigglesURN. Thank you to Varutu, who has just started following. That's thank you very much. Pretty much that's it. Music will carry on. So if you are listening, if you're watching, you need to go to eve-radio.com or gamingnow.net to carry on listening, because we are going to switch over to music for the next, hour, 2, something like that. This is why we do this weekend doing, how we do it. If you're listening in post, thank you very much. As always, show notes and past episodes can be found at show.gamingradio.net. So pretty much that's it, unless anyone wants to say anything before I fade up and play some music.
I think I'm good for now.
That's it.
Same here.
Pretty much. We are out of here. I'll press that button there.